of slaves, we got to go to Charlamagne Tha God. Oh my gosh. When I saw this interview of him on Fox News, he looked like I'm a pure fool. Okay, a pure fool.
So look, we're 6 months into President Trump's second term in office. Now I know you've been critical. You've had your bones to pick with President Trump. If you took his name out of it and looked solely at what has happened, the policies and the things that have changed around the world and in our country over the first 6 months, how do you rate his presidency so far?
I wouldn't give it a good rating,
Why not?
Simply because, the least of us are still being impacted the worst. Like when you look at something like, the big, beautiful bill, that's something that, I'm going to benefit from because of the tax bracket that I'm in. But, there's going to be so many people that's hurt by that bill. And, anything that, takes away Medicaid from people and is going to put people in a worse financial situation than, they were previously in. I'm not for. And, he ran on that. Like, he ran on, the economy. He ran on saying that, grocery prices were going to be down. And,
That has happened.
No.
Inflation is trending down. And by the way, Medicaid.
No, he was ready to. He reminded me of a toddler when he was just ready to say no to everything. He did not give it any thought. If he is the quintessential New Yorker, if he is who you have in New York City, Houston, we got a problem. You in danger, girl, as Whoopi said on The Ghost.
We want to make sure that people who are not actual recipients or shouldn't be getting Medicaid are off of Medicaid so it can actually benefit more people. There is good stuff in that bill, though. You have the 2017 tax cuts that are made permanent, and that really is for everybody.
For who, though?
But that's for everyone. Everyone in this country is impacted by that. You also have things, by the way, like money going to school choice for parents all across this country. There is a lot of good that I think will come out of the big, beautiful bill. But what about things like...
Right now, people are hurting. And, he campaigned on immediate change, day one change.
And you don't think you've felt any change? People aren't feeling change.
No.
Do you feel safer knowing that Iran will not have the ability to develop a nuclear weapon?
Iran?
Yeah.
Sure. I feel safe if you're telling me that a country won't have the ability to build a nuclear weapon.
Do you feel better knowing our borders closed?
Yes.
Okay, so there
don't get me wrong. There's certain things that I absolutely, understood. Like, as far as, border security. But I understood border security for different reasons. Like, people were complaining about the border because they felt like people were coming into, the country and, taking jobs away from people in certain areas and certain communities. And that is the conversation that I had been hearing, for the past year and a half prior to the election. I understand that, but I want to see the criminals and illegal immigrants, actually deported.
That's happening.
Not people who are here, trying to go through the process of being in this country legally. Like when you see people actually getting deported and getting detained, and they're actually trying to go through the process of being American citizens, that's not right.
Well, we're allowing those people to leave. They actually get money to leave, and then they get to reapply to come back here the right way.
But leave and go where?
They go back to their home country, and then they
what if they've never even been to that country?
Look, Charlamagne, these people get on my nerves. Again, I'm not begrudging his millions or whatever his notoriety is that he has earned, but these people are I don't see him out there taking in any of these people. He's not paying for them, talking about people getting off Medicaid. No, Medicare is charged, if you will, or expensive because we have people on who don't belong. Okay, we have people on who can actually work and maybe pay into some of their own care. What is wrong with that? With Medicaid, the same thing. These people don't belong on there. Illegals don't belong on there. Yes, like Nicole mentioned a few minutes ago, that now we have people moving into jobs that were not working, that did not have the jobs, Americans, because these illegals are being deported. And what did he say? He wants to see the criminals being deported. They are. Well, I don't understand well, they are being deported. The criminals and the illegals. Yes, the illegals, Charlamagne, Tha God, whatever you want to call yourself, they are being deported. He was so on autopilot. Is that what you said, KJ? Yeah. He was on autopilot, and so they're ready to attack anything with Trump beside it. They want to attack. But when she actually went issue by issue, oh yeah, I do support that. These people get on my nerves. They are so in their own mind. These elites, they think they speak for every other group that they name, and they don't have any damn idea. They don't. Go out there and share your wealth. Pay for all their medical bills. Let's see how ego you would be to do that.
Yeah, Nicole, this guy, I mean, he was ready to say no about everything, and we've only been here 6 months. 6 months. He said, what does he expect to happen here that hasn't happened already?
Well, first of all, Trump has used his power in a way that no other American president has. He's not waiting for permission. He's reveling in his authority. And that's something that's new and fun for politicos. However, to the average person, this last 6 months has seemed like 2 or 3 years legislatively. He has reclaimed American culture from this radical left. It's no longer cool to be some kind of septum pierced weirdo with pink hair and think you're a boy today, a girl tomorrow, a fuzzy next week. He has reclaimed American culture for us. And I understand that for a certain subset of people, it can be scary, you know, and unfortunately, Charlamagne came on Fox. He looked very uncomfortable on set. I don't know what that was about because he has a podcast of his own, but he looked very uncomfortable on set. But more importantly, he forgot his Democrat talking points. He should have brought his little cue card out and put it flat on the desk so he knew he was talking about. He hit the big points, but when questioned about individual points, like Shelley was saying, he agreed. This is often how we talk to people who say, oh, no, I'm a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat. I've been a Democrat my whole life. We went to barbershops and cigar stores, that kind of thing. So we would ask them point to point, point to point. And by the time we got maybe 9 out of the 10 things that we agree with, and I would say, so tell me again why you're not voting for the man who lines up with the 9 points out of the 10 points we talked about. Is it just because someone told you not to vote for him or someone told you not to like him? Can we just flash back to the early 90s when he was all the rage and everybody had him in a video and, you know, being a Trump was a great thing? It doesn't make sense. This TDS, and that was a clear textbook vision of what TDS is. Here's a man who agrees with President Trump on major policy issues, but the DNC has told him, oh, no, you may not. And he's taken that lesson.
He's a slave.
Really, really concerned. When he got to, I think maybe the second yes, he was like, well, wait a minute. Why am I agreeing with her? Well, because it's true. That's why you're agreeing with her. It's true.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're in a situation where you clearly see that things are in your favor, yet you are trying to push back against it. You can't say the truth. I was like, you can't say the truth. You are a slave. You are a slave to the Democrat Party. It's not us. It's you. And one thing we need to talk about that I don't think we on the right talk about enough. It's going to take a little bit of time to get back from this large inflationary economy that we were in under Biden. I mean, grocery prices rose 21.6% annually from 2020 to 2024. You know, it's going to take some adjustment for us to get back, if we're even able to get back to where we were under President Trump when he was in office the first time. Right. Okay, he's getting there. I mean, we are seeing, as she mentioned, Lara Trump, a trend in grocery prices. They are going down. They really are. And when you adjust for inflation and everything, inflation is going down. Grocery prices are going down. But people, especially people who are living paycheck to paycheck, middle class, working people, may not be feeling. I know I don't feel the relief yet. Right. You know, and I'm going to speak honestly. I don't really feel that relief yet. I do see it in the gas prices. I see it there. But I don't see it yet. Now, on top of that, we are in Maryland. So it's going to be tough for us to feel it because we have a Democrat leadership, you know, mayor, governor, all up and down, legislature, who are taxing and feeding us out the wazoo. So any relief that the federal government may provide us, it's pretty much cut off because we've gotten taxes and fees right here in our state.
Yeah, and let's keep in mind, KJ, when Laura mentioned out the trends, Trends are, again, the general direction, right? The general direction of the line. It doesn't mean that there won't be some fluctuation along that time period. That's number one. Number two, President Trump, God bless him, he's doing what he said he was going to do and what he needs to do for Americans as a whole. It doesn't mean that every little thing that we want, that I want, is going to happen. It doesn't mean that, okay? So that's called, a dream or a fairy tale. It does not mean that. It doesn't mean that there won't be some things that may never get done. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, in the time that President Trump has, he's one man. Of course, we have Congress, things like that. But what President Trump is setting up, if you will, for a big picture, he's setting up the idea of the opportunities. Okay, removing some of the bureaucratic muck and mire, removing some of the regulations, removing some of all of the obstacles, if you will, at least from an administrative point, so that Americans can literally take back more control of your lives, of your wherewithal, and use those opportunities to your advantage. That's basically it. So it's like the path is here. He's clearing the way. He can't do all the work. Damn it. You got to get out there and do something.
Right. And that's what the tax cuts were about. Everybody's getting the tax, or they're continuing these tax cuts that everyone will get. And you get your money. That's more money of your money in your pocket. Also with the waste and fraud, I think that was a huge thing that he did.
Absolutely.
Now the Democrats are playing it like, he's cutting Medicaid from people who deserve and who are supposed to be on it. No, he's getting people off that are trying to game the system, and that's actually, those people are taking money away from the people that are that really need it.
Exactly.
Right.
And one more thing about the waste and the fraud, KJ, Nicole, I'm sorry. One more thing that people, I think we overlook, or we don't talk about as much. Fraud, waste, and abuse, is particularly in the government, is a business. It keeps people employed in the government, on the payroll, so that they can keep investigating whatever. Get rid of it from the beginning, and you get rid of those people. You stop paying for those jobs that are unnecessary. For what? It reduces the taxpayer burden. So it keeps people employed, and it gets rid on. It's like a twofold thing. It's not just people don't belong on the rolls, but as long as there are people on the rolls partaking of the fraud, waste, and abuse, then that means you get to justify all of these extra government jobs, right? That if you just if you correct the regulations from the beginning, we don't need to do that.
I think to a large degree, what we're seeing now is just the beginning of the turnaround. Again, people, it's been 6 months. I know it feels like a couple of years, but it has not been a long time. There have been tremendous change. I know, just as someone who employs a bunch of people, last week I hired 3 people. Business is booming. We're doing great. But by the time, I would probably say this time next year, we'll be able to see real economic change. But it takes time. It's not a button. There's no easy button that you smack and suddenly things are great again. It's going to take some time, and it's going to take more than Trump. It's definitely going to take more than Trump. We got midterms coming up in 2026. You guys got to vote. I mean, we're doing everything we can to get high quality candidates out for these congressional seats. There are some redistricting going on, some pushing and shoving, that kind of thing. But we definitely need to make sure that there are more conservative voices representing us in the House of Representatives. So this agenda and their ideas as well, not just pushing the president's agenda, but bring something to the table other than your desire to agree with President Trump. I think we'll be in good shape, but we have to get ourselves there.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your super chats, folks. Your super chats go a long way in helping us produce conservative content. And again, if you appreciate this content that actually tells the truth, drop us a super chat and help us keep fighting this narrative.